Sweat Equity Podcast and Streaming Show, the number one comedy and business podcast out in these streets. Arbitron rated number one. Pragmatic entrepreneurial advice and dick jokes. That cough brought to you by Roan. Try Roan.com/sweat. Get your high end, get your gear, get your workout gear going. Try Roan.com/sweat. It'll get it going, and you can have that girthy ROI, hashtag 69B2B, hashtag Sweat Equity. It's a sponsor of ours that we forget to talk about on this show. Tryroan.com/sweat. It's awesome workout gear. Check it out. Tryroan.com/sweat. We're on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Laughable, YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo. You see how I switched all this up?
What is happening?
Not your normal read, because we're going to go right into trying Grasshopper. Trygrasshopper.com/sweat. Gets you the hookup on a business phone line. Don't have a Google voice number when someone's calling your business, your side hustle. Get a real business phone line. I've got one on my phone. You don't need two phones like a drug dealer in the 90s. Trygrasshopper.com/sweat. We'll get you the hookup on $50 off. Wait, no. Ooh, it's like $150 off, I think, for the year. Annually. We should look that up.
Why would we know? Why would we know that?
I could hit the link while I'm doing this read and figure it out, but try grasshopper.com/sweat. It'll hook you up. Oh, $75 off. Excuse me. Somewhere in the middle. Off a business phone line plan. And it's a scalable app where you can add phone numbers to it as you go. I'm a member of it. Try grasshopper.com/sweat. FreshBooks. Go freshbooks.com/sweat. Get that direct deposit the next day. That is huge. QuickBooks doesn't do that. Xero doesn't do that. FreshBooks does it. Go freshbooks.com/sweat. You can sit in. That's another scalable accounting option where you can do it as little as just sending a couple invoices, or that can get your CPA to log in and do your accounting work through your app. Go freshbooks.com/sweat. Gets you the hookup on that. And lastly, Warby Parker, warbyparkertrial.com/sweat. I'm tired of my friends telling me they get new sunglasses, eyeglasswear, and their prescription, and they don't use our link, warbyparkertrial.com/sweat. Get 5 free pairs to try on at home. You can find your face shape against all the frames they have on the site, and you can type in your prescription. Boom, I've done it. I've been a Warby Parker member for 5-6 years now. warbyparkertrial.com/sweat. Get you 5 free pairs to try on at home. Don't like any of them? Go 0 for 5. Send them all back at another 5. Boom, done it. And that
Get that Carlos Pena stat line.
That gets all the reads. This is a tough thing to do without the music in the background that we normally have, that we're going to sweeten it up later. But I'll give a hotty. Yeah.
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. Sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?
We're zooming.
We're zooming, buddy.
We're zooming. We're
Pay
not
attention.
even. We're not following our own rules that we set out about 3 months ago.
What
making fun of-
rules?
Well, we're not dad.
Because I don't have sleeves.
No, it's fine. You keep it business casual, real business
Very
casual.
casual.
Joe Exotic business casual.
I am never gonna financially recover from this.
I've got an upskirt camera looking at you, but that's not apparently what the output is.
Yeah, nobody cares.
So,
Because you've got
Yeah.
my Zoom camera, but that's not going, because all we're looking at is your screen. Nobody cares about the technical side of things.
to make us a little bit legitimate of a show, I got a little tip. There's an LISC loan available for small businesses, because much like a lot of people, I don't know if you've received that email from our respective state of Florida that they're out of the disbursements of payments, I guess.
Oh.
And so I got that email today, but I've been trying to push everybody that listens to this show don't just look for the civic stuff. Don't look for the federal, state, and your city or county. I mean, check those out for sure. But there's also a lot of private opportunity that's not predatory. So there's how about this? If you want a Google Ads credit, they're going to give away about $300 million worth of Google Ads credit for small businesses. Now, if you think about it in an economist kind of way, that means the value of Google Ads is not as much. However,
thank you for the free thing that doesn't really exist that you control, Google. Thank you.
Well, I went back and forth in my own brain by myself thinking about it because I was shitting on my own point basically to tell people about this. But then I thought about it. How many times have you been given a digital gift card and never used it, or just a gift card in general?
I don't know. Right? I'm pretty good about cashing in on them gift cards.
All right. What about generally, like most people, right?
Yes, I think there is a thing to gift cards and that they kind of there's a percentage of them that go unused that are just money into the vendor's pocket.
Yeah, because also they have a time limit on when you can use them.
Sure.
So there's that aspect of it, but people just lose them, forget them. They don't keep them in their wallet, kind of thing. But like I remember on Shark Tank a long time ago, there's a guy that had a whole business that was like 70% of them don't get used or something. Anyway, I just think when you get a digital kind of thing that a Google Ads isn't going to change a lot of unless you're certified like I am and run a business.
Humble brag.
Yeah. Seven Google Ads certifications, 5 Trade Desk programmatic advertising certifications. What? But I'm saying like unless you really know that or have someone in that's doing that work for you, it might not move the needle very much,
Sure.
So it almost feels like it's going to help some people out, but I don't even know how they're going to give those out.
Right.
Long story boring, as Brett Ernst likes to say, is there's one that's with Verizon, I believe, and a bunch of other bigger private companies called the LISC loan, and that's available. That just dropped or just started taking applications again yesterday.
Who's that through? That's a private loan?
Yeah. So there's private ones out there. We've talked about the Facebook one. If you're an ad agency, there's Google Ads. It's doing about almost close to $1 billion in like 4 different categories. One was the aforementioned Google Ads. And then there's just a lot you just have to like kind of, I put up Google alert.
You got to nerd out on that free money.
I try to put up a Google alert for keywords just for this show see if anything interesting comes up, but that's not really our zone so much.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get like a cash flow expert on to kind of that knows this stuff a little bit better to come on. So.
Well, like you said, the thing with the Google Ads is like you could give me, $1 million in Google Ads and somebody who knows it really good could get 1,000 and get way more out of it. Like giving however much credit to somebody through Google Ads that doesn't really know what to do with it. It's like, what are you gonna,
Well,
they know that.
If someone submits for it, gets it, and has trouble, they can hit us up, I guess. We can send them to people that know how to do it.
Sure.
That we want to be a connector as a show.
Space Dockers.
I'm looking up. I want to look at all the. What do you feel about all the businesses that have gotten the stimulus loans that have? I think my hunch is it's misreported, like the Ruth's Chris kind of thing. Have you read about that?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because you want to take a shit on it. You want to be like, fuck those guys, man. Can you believe that? But you get like. Whoever's the shot caller in these situations is listening to accountants or somebody who is like, hey, if you don't do it, somebody else is, and it's like, if you talk to business people, they're always going to be like, hey, you got to take advantage of these things because everybody else is, and I don't know. It's tough. There's some that I've heard that is like, hey, that's not cool that you think you deserve money through the, but most of them, it's like, man, I know what they're thinking.
Well, you know what isn't really reported, and this if main media gets on digital, it's like we've gone over that a lot over the years. Like they don't even know how to talk about it.
Yeah.
But on this side, it's definitely misleading to say that like if your franchise, I guess like Roos Chris was or is like they you could get that as an individual franchise owner, right? Because there's a lot of them underneath that umbrella. How many? I don't know. So
Sure.
that it could be a bunch of groups, which you want to try to. The weird thing with the stimulus stuff and like how we are feeling sad for businesses. I'm gonna. This is not going to be a popular opinion, but
Uh-oh.
we emphasize a lot about
Hot takes.
restaurants. No,
Yeah.
just like restaurants, like because we all love fucking food, right? Like that's why.
We have to.
No one's
Or
thinking
we'll
about the
die.
supply chain of the food that gets to the restaurant, really, right? Because it's
Sure.
not sexy. They're thinking about like
I don't know.
Shake Shack. Shake Shack gave back the money. Roost Chris gave back the money, and it's like, well, yeah, because they got PR slam basically.
Right. If we weren't paying attention,
Well,
you know,
that's so.
everybody
I
gets
mean,
a shake.
it's $2 trillion in the stimulus package, and it's interesting to just kind of watch the news on that, even though we're not going to break any news on this show, but it's definitely like, yeah, the Paycheck Protection Program is where they got, and that's the loan to just help people get paid, which I don't. I think the headlines just read these big brands and people freak out, and it's like, well, no, they actually employ like big companies employ a lot of people.
Yeah, especially the franchise thing is like, you know, they do their best to try and control how those franchises are performing and stuff. But like in the end, like some of them are worse off than others, like big time. There's absolutely managerial situations that they can't control, and they might need to throw millions of dollars at certain areas or certain groups that own multiple locations. It's
I could make a case that it should go to franchises because they have a proven model, a hub and spoke model,
yeah,
franchisor franchisee. You could make a better argument in saying, these businesses will probably survive a little bit more, or you're just mitigating risk if you get to pick and choose, like literally subjectively, you're the person giving out the stimulus check to companies, and you can go, well, look, franchises that are at a certain level, they carry a lot less risk of failing. So, this aberration of a forthcoming recession aside, that's not an economic. It didn't happen from any economic thing. It happened from a virus going around, which is once in 100 years. So it's one of those things where now I'm thinking about it, the franchise stuff is probably a better bet for our tax money to go to.
yeah. I mean, they become franchise. They have. You should franchise that. That's like that for a reason, because it's successful and they have it figured out.
Yeah, and then there's a lot. Don't get caught up in the startup franchise stuff. If anybody's listening to that, I need to do a new opportunity to get in solar panels or something like that.
Yeah, go with a tried and true one. Tried and true.
Well, I'm getting a lot of ads for starting your own franchise of something, and a lot of it's a lot of untested. I would say like untested markets, untested services to franchise out.
Well,
do your own online class, make a lot of money that way.
Yeah, I've got a couple master classes I'm ready to teach, but
right.
It's funny because we're not like big on franchises, but I sent you that infographic that had all the startup costs for franchises, and it was like
I've got it open.
The top 20 or whatever it was, and actually, former employer of mine, Snap-on Tools, was on there. I
didn't know they were a franchise.
Yeah.
I'm pulling it up.
But there's some big numbers on there, surprisingly big numbers, especially for, I think it was, I don't know if it was In-N-Out or Jack in the Box or something like that, had like crazy high amount of money you had to have to get started.
how much you have to invest to start a top 20 franchise.
I guess it's not cash up front, but that's the debt you're going into.
So how much?
They have
How-
franchise fees, which is basically just, hey, give me money for this name and for this setup. That's aside from equipment and anything else, whatever.
Yeah.
Inventory, all that.
I've been in a franchise system. I've studied it in school back in the day. I remember when I was in undergrad 15 years ago in the entrepreneurship program, we used to talk about Chick-fil-A and Krispy Kreme because they had like an absurd number. So you have to be liquid. They'll look at your assets and go, how liquid are you?
Right.
And then you have to have investment too. So that's why I think I was looking at this like there's something else that needs to be involved in this graph because
yeah, that graph is very overarching. It's like basically they that's not all liquid, obviously.
no,
That's
no.
a crazy amount.
It's just showing the initial investment.
Yeah.
Let me I can share my screen, right?
Nah, maybe. I don't know.
Let's get wild.
You
Share
burn
some
my house
screens.
down, man. And we should talk about why we're back in my house or why I'm in my house.
If you want
We
to.
want to talk about some.
I was if you wanted to talk
okay.
about it, I was
Here,
game.
let me get
If
your
not,
get your screen up there.
oh shit.
Gay porn. Now you're just. Oh God, you're gonna break your whole thing, dude.
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't do anything.
All right. Well, all right. Let's look at your screen. McDonald's.
Now you can see it.
What was
Okay.
it? Culver's had the highest low end investment out of everything on there. Great clips. Jersey Mike's. I used to work for Jersey Mike's. They're
Did
on
you
there.
really?
Yeah, dude.
That place sucks. That place is
What?
fucking
Bro,
horrible.
I'm gonna fucking end the partnership of this podcast.
Oh, wait,
Talk
and
shit
pause
about
it?
Jersey
Fuck.
Mike's.
My bad.
All right, just
Um,
get back to your video. Who cares? Nobody wants to see this stupid graph.
Well, look, I'll read it. How is this in order? Is it in no order?
There is no order and
Remax.
no interest.
Come on, math reading centers.
Uh,
Come on, math and reading centers.
UPS store.
That's how I have to read it when I see it, because otherwise I'll just make a cum joke. Yeah, Jersey Mike's sucks
Did you
ass.
come
By
in
the
it?
way,
If I
Yeah.
if I had my soundboard.
Planet Fitness is garbage.
Yeah.
Never gonna be hired for marketing work on any of these.
We were not getting sponsored by these people.
Snap-on tools. I'm surprised. What's the target audience y'all hit?
Mechanics.
Yeah.
Snap-on is strictly selling high-end tools to professional mechanics that you wouldn't believe how many are out there. It's like insane.
No, I definitely believe it, especially now that I'm in that kind of B2B sector and just getting to know more of the unsexy businesses out there, and then the ancillary ones around that. Yeah, for sure. Anybody who has a wrench. And by the way, one of the best wedding gifts I got, you gave me a Snap-on
man.
ratchet set that is awesome.
That was the go-to for a while. Still was getting the deal. This is a Blue
Dude,
Point.
I mean that's like
their-
the most practical,
Right?
pragmatic
I know.
gift. But I've used it so much to hang shit wherever I've lived the last 5 years. So
Yeah. All right.
Jimmy,
Get away
Jimmy
from
John's,
your screen. Nobody wants to see it. There we
Jimmy
go.
John's is
Go
garbage.
back.
I'm beautiful. I framed up real nice. I've got the lights going. You can see my pretty green eyes.
Yes. We
Or
both
blue,
have pretty
I
green
guess.
eyes. Thank you.
I forgot they changed color. I grew up they were green, now they're blue or
Okay.
hazel.
I
Did
don't
you know
wanna
they
look
could do
too-
that?
No.
I didn't know they could do that. Yeah, but all the food ones are just garbage, straight garbage on there. I just remember that Chick-fil-A has the highest profitability, and then
Sure.
they wouldn't let you pick where your location was.
Good.
So like you live in Texas, they're like, cool, we're gonna start hitting North Dakota. That's where you're.
Well, they're not doing that, but they're not going to, they're going to pick street corners and stuff like that. That's what they're talking about.
Back in the
sending
day,
you to
they
North
would
Dakota.
they would pick like they'd be like, look, the only ones you get are like going to be out of state because we have too many in this area.
Well, that makes
kind of thing.
sense. Okay.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah.
they don't crush it in overall sales because like people will be like Subway and McDonald's like kill it,
They
but
do
their
volume.
profitability per location is insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And In-N-Out has to be that way too, but they're private, so you'll never get that info.
Never get
I think
in
they're one
or
big
out of there.
Well, I think they're one big private fast food chain that, they don't really have franchisees. I don't think. I could be wrong.
Yeah, not everywhere is franchised.
Well, I mean, but you just think of that model, but they don't. They're only really on the West Coast, so I guess that would make sense. Anyway, yeah, I find that interesting. I find it interesting. A lot of people are looking at stuff like this to figure out how to, like, all right, well, this is if I'm gonna start a new business, this might be the time.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I recommend franchise stuff if it makes sense, but you got to look at profitability, how liquid you are. When I was with Sola Salon Studios in the franchise group, we were in it was really interesting to see it was a lot about commercial real estate. So you find out that you get in it because you're like, people love Dunkin' coffee. Coffee's got a great markup, and then you probably get involved, and it's really about finding the commercial real estate for it.
Sure.
More than anything.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's like, what's his name?
Or finding a rotating
Ray Kroc
amount
with
of
McDonald's. McDonald's Corporation, they just bought all the land that all those businesses were sitting on. And it's like, oh, okay, now they're more powerful. Did you see that movie?
Yeah, but I thought it was. I remember thinking about more of the assembly line stuff than the real estate part of it. But you're right.
Well, that's what made it all. That's what made it huge. Was he just turned it into a real estate company, basically.
But they don't own. They don't still do that, right? They don't still own all the land. Yeah, I think he did. But I
stopped paying attention after the end of the movie. But
well, I mean, Sears did that. That's why there's still Sears around. Everyone's like, why would you have a Sears? Who goes in there? You can. The best thing about Sears is you can haggle with them. Did you know that?
No.
My buddy does that because they'll let you haggle with them on a price, which is absurd for a big department store. But,
what? When's the last time that happened? You need to get your buddy and get him to video himself haggling at Sears, and let's see how it goes. I want to see.
Yeah, I'm sure he wants a video of himself doing that. Everybody likes that.
Apparently, I mean, were you with him when he did it, or did he tell you about it? Because if he told you about it, it means he's a little bit proud, and he probably wants to do a video of it.
Look, no, he's not proud of it. He just was like, hey, here's a hot tip. Because I know you nerd out in this stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. If I ever buy a washing machine.
Here's a hot tip. If you want to save 50 cents on something, you can spend 15 minutes talking to a high school graduate about the price on a washer.
Well, really just where your brain gets going on any department store that you think that's fixed. We're not going to be able to. This isn't a dealership for a car, but that Sears is such a weird entity because they own all their property. So they own all their buildings. So it kind of
they're trying to walk in there by the building.
They don't. I mean, they don't. It
Mr.
sounds
Peanut.
like they don't need to crush it in sales, or they have the ability to not have to go crazy and just keep the land, and sell that off.
Oh, okay.
Like Scientology or Church of Latter-day Saints.
Sure. Yeah.
They're the real
business models, man.
Honestly, they're the biggest real estate mavens in the world.
Yeah. Should have got in on the ground floor.
But, this is a business podcast. That's about religion because religion isn't a business, is it? No.
No.
All hail.
Catholic Church did get shitload of that PPP money, but.
Did it?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
How does that work?
Yep.
How does the Catholic Church? They don't get taxed.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh-huh. Man, we got a real Epstein Island pedophile conspiracy brewing in my head.
Yeah.
America. Wait, what? Who gave it?
The federal government.
So yeah, we got some we got some Epstein Island
I
connection.
know. I don't know why I even brought it up.
Look, man, I'm just
I
saying what
don't
the
need
people
their
are thinking.
assassins coming to my house in their robes.
What? Putting frankincense on you? Uh, what's it called? So what? Yeah, you're doing that. We're doing this via Zoom. Hopefully, we can, you know, get three ways going.
Yes.
And bringing in some guests and taking advantage of people being like, I'm like, man, I should. This is the time to hit up some people that are still like still self quarantine, especially the people in California that are interesting that we might not ever be able to get
Right.
on
Yeah. And
normally.
they're like, fuck it. We'll be on there.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
like, if I get high or drunk enough, maybe Bert Kreischer will come on. If I,
If you get high or drunk enough.
no, I get, that's where I get my booking ideas.
Ah.
Yeah. And I'm like, maybe yeah. I'm optimistic. How about
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
that?
But yeah, we're back out of the new studio.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to try to extrapolate this story for a business lesson of some
yeah.
sort.
Well, the lesson, head coach style, NFL head coach style, is it's on me. I did not clarify the expectations
I
of
just like
one
how you're trying to
another.
articulate this. It's making me laugh. Yeah.
We were who they thought they were. What was it? They were who
Yeah.
they thought they whatever.
Dennis Green, man.
Yeah, no, it was it seemed like a good idea to exchange services, and I just didn't
I think you
get
got to
it.
give the whole backstory. So we were at a marketing PR company, kind of friendly with. Eric was doing a lot of business with.
Right.
You got to set the table, man.
Yeah,
for people.
I'm also trying to kind of I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. So, I'm just trying to be very cordial. But yeah, it was one of those things where I was in agreement to help them with whatever I could help them with in general, and it wasn't really a solid agreement on anything. And for me, the time that was expected to be put in
Are you having
to
a stroke?
exchange services was not exactly what I was feeling. And I kind of had to just take my ball and go home.
So you had worked at a barter with a local company we were friendly with that you were doing some hired work for through
Yeah.
another friend of ours, and one of those things, barters are really tough.
Sure.
With services.
But
and-
seriously, I didn't work out the barter. That's the problem. Is I didn't
yeah.
say, okay, this is what we're doing.
Right. And
X number of hours I'm putting in, and I'm going
Right.
to be in there for this number of hours. Boom, boom, boom. We're in agreement. Boom. That's the problem. Is I didn't do that.
Yeah, and that was something that's why I kept being like, well, let me know if I can throw my hat into the ring to kind of work off some stuff for them. So just overdo it a little bit so it kept everything nice. But, we were kind of working that out, and, discrepancies over the paid work you were doing went down, and then now you're in this weird muddled area where it's like, oh shit.
Right.
Bartering services is really tough. You really through failing a lot, the only way to really do it is you have to take what your per hour or what that normally would cost, and then put it against what they normally charge.
Exactly.
Or what that should be.
Yeah.
And you have to do the math of it. You can't just do a handshake in the air.
Right.
It's easy to not do it when, especially service businesses now where everything's just moving quickly.
Sure.
And so, for instance, our power business attorney, Steve Fantetti, his dollar per hour, his hourly rate would be 2 times the one that the Tokubaga agency when it was active. And so I would go, okay, well, here's what I'll do for here's what I can do for you.
Right.
And then, he's given me 5 hours of his work. And that's how we had to do it because that was the most fair way.
Yeah. And I should have did that. And I didn't.
Yeah. And
but-
you and I are always like, if there's, an extra pizza slice and you're at a party or something, there's one left, you're going to give it to the other person usually. Like,
Yeah.
I think we're always kind of looking at like, nothing's going to be even in a barter like that forever, or just it may seesaw back and forth. But if anybody's listening that's trying to do that, it's an okay way to get a lot of stuff done. You have this skill that everybody needs. So digital for us, or video production or podcasting, whatever, a lot of people need it now.
Yeah.
Or, but they never want to pay for it.
Right.
For marketing. So it's kind of like on the small level, on the really small local level, micro, nano. So it's like there always was a way to like get stuff done in the beginning, but it doesn't pay the bills.
Right. And it does go back to the thing where it's like, just because it only took me an hour doesn't mean that it wouldn't take them however many hours, and it's just like,
oh yeah. And
it took a long time to be able to do that in an hour.
Right. And that's why your
That's why
bill
I'm sitting
rate
at home.
Well, I mean, look, we can get away with Zoom for a while. I think this isn't. We thought your computer was going to burn up and go into flames.
Yeah.
And mine yesterday, I had to get hardline Ethernet. So
Yeah.
it's like, I think this
actually
can be improved a lot.
Yeah, we had a 10-minute podcast yesterday with Avery, my daughter, as the producer, in which we were fucking up the audio, and it was all weird sounding, and I was like, man, this is what Patreon is for.
I mean, maybe.
Throw it on there.
All
of our Patreon subscribers gets to see our sound checks.
Well, what I want to do is, because I'm moving my place too, so this sweet background behind me won't be here much longer. But I definitely want to figure out how to get better guests in while we can, if possible. And the one thing I've been watching with the Zoom, I've been really kind of watching them on YouTube, is that I think we're doing one where you have a switcher going between back and forth, right?
Kind of. I mean, we got the dick tie down the middle, split screen style, though.
Oh, we're doing PTI style. I didn't know that. Yeah, because I was watching Legion of Skanks, one of my favorite ones, and they had all 4 boxes of people open at the same time, and it was like, I don't know. It's tough. It was rough.
Yeah, I think Beyond 2 is like, it's too much.
Yeah.
Because then you're having to search who's talking.
Right.
Which one is it? Because here it's like, I know it's either one or the other.
Yeah, so if I'm looking at my frame, that's a 16:9 ratio. It's going to be cut in the middle.
Your head looks twice as big as mine. I'll say that much.
So we did frame it up correctly. Great.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's exactly how it is in real life too.
Pretty close. Mascot head. Where are we at on time?
Dude, you said that at exactly like 30 minutes. Weird.
Perfect. What else? So. What? Anything else you've got on your?
We're gonna work on. I'm not.
I want you to get mad and talk shit.
No, I'm not. I mean, it's. I really am not mad. I just had to like be like,
I'm just
okay.
Disappointed.
Well, no, I mean, it was like one of those things where I was like, okay, I can't. Like, obviously, I didn't talk this all. I'm not even joking around where I'm saying it's partially my. Like, it was. There's a good bit of it my fault, and I feel bad because, like, Serena is she's without a studio now and stuff, and it's not it wasn't like an easy decision to come by, but I was putting in way too many hours for what because we were using the studio an hour a week.
Look,
and I was
it doesn't mean it still can't work out either.
Right, I mean, and that's why I'm not talking shit, because there's not really shit to talk. I
know. I just want to get I'm just saying overall, I want to get you to talk shit on this podcast one day.
Oh man, well, I'm not. I'm not going to be held down, man. Keep pushing me down, and I'll get back up again.
No, it creates more drama. I don't recommend it.
Yeah, I don't.
But it has bitten me in the ass more than it's probably helped me. But man, I'm First Amendment guy, bro. All right, don't tell me to wear a mask.
Shred
all right?
on me.
Stand up's the last bastion of free speech, man.
Yeah.
So, in podcasting from your Zoom.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we'll close it out. We're still on Spotify, on Google Play, Apple Podcasts. All
Actually,
that good
Google
stuff.
is Google Podcasts now.
Oh yeah,
Or something.
They-
What was it? You forwarded me. You haphazardly forwarded me some email that I had already done.
There's Google Play is now Google Podcast. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is.
I skimmed it while it probably was on the toilet, but
Right.
you know,
Cool.
keep it real, bro. Keep it real, authentic, genuine. First Amendment, free speech, all those things.
Sure.
Keep the dick ties going. And
Do it.
That's it.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. Sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?